I want to tell you a little story, okay? This is a man that came to me. I didn't know him when he was sick. He came to me and he told me that the angels cured him. That's what he told me. I had to hear this. I had to hear the story. So I didn't know him. And, this is at one time in his life. And he's been waiting to tell this story. And he wanted to tell it to me. And I said, I want to hear this. And I was enthralled. Okay? So he fell ill. Completely ill. He was in this, catatonic state. I mean, he was just in this, state of paralysis. And he fell ill. He couldn't eat. He couldn't even sleep. He couldn't walk. He couldn't talk. He was in hospital for quite a long time. And, for a good long time in the hospital. And then they moved him at home, and it was too hard to work with him at home. He was on a feeding tube. He was on a breathing apparatus most of the time. And he told me that he was awake. And they moved him into a nursing home, where basically to die. And then from the nursing home, maybe back to the hospital. I think he told me he went back to the hospital a couple times and back to the nursing home. And he said that he was conscious. He couldn't speak, but he was conscious. And he was awake. But he couldn't move. He couldn't write. He couldn't do anything. But he was positive he was going to die at the nursing home. He was just left to die. And then he remembered the angel on top of his Christmas tree when he was a child. He remembered the angel on top of the Christmas tree when he was a child. Okay? And he was just totally hopeless at this point, thinking he's never going to come out of this. I mean, he heard sometimes in and out of it all, the doctors talking about how it's a mystery illness. They can't see a stroke. They don't know what's causing it. But he was wasting away, and he was dying and losing his life. And it was just unknown to what was wrong. In and out of the delusion of the sickness. In and out of that. But he said at one time, when he lost all hope and he thought he was going to die, and he thought he was going to leave, it appeared to him to think about the angel on top of his Christmas tree. He'll never forget that angel. He said it had beautiful sparkly wings. It had a soft, angelic face. And it had golden hair. And it had white, like a white veil all around it. Big wings. And it sat on top of the tree when he was a child. And then he remembered his aunt had an angel at her house that was on top. It was on the coffee table in the living room, on top of the coffee table. And he remembered that angel. And he said to himself, are there angels? There must be. There must be angels. I at least have to connect to the angels somehow. That's what he said to himself innately. Not because he was taught about the angels. He wasn't taught about the angels. No one taught him about the angels. It was just on top of the Christmas tree. And then he envisioned the Christmas tree angel lit up. Because he remembered that if the Christmas tree was unplugged, the angel on top of the Christmas tree would go out. And he always liked to see it plugged in. And so he would ask his family to plug it in all the time so the angel would light. And remember, it lit up. And he remembered it. And he remembered the other angel on the coffee table. And all he could think about, instead of dying, instead of being sick and paralyzed, instead of wasting away, all he could think about were these angels. And he became obsessed in a good way, about these angels. And he called it obsessed. That's what he said to me. He became obsessed with them. And he said, after a few days, what he feels like went a few days by because he couldn't tell time. He said after a few days gone by, he said that it was about 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning, which he feels because It was the summertime, and he felt like the light was about to come out in the little window when he cracked his eyes open, because he could see partially. And he said that he saw some light coming up in the window and coming up, like it looked like dawn was coming. And he closed his eye and he went into some kind of vision. And the vision was seeing angels come down from the sky and break through the nursing home, to break through the nursing home ceiling and come down and land on his bed by his side. He said there were 3 or 4 angels standing, looking over him, standing over his body. He saw these angels. One of the angels was holding the angel on top of the Christmas tree in the angel's hand to give him the identifiable message that we have come to help. The angels did a dance around him. They walked around him, he said. They sat on the bed with him. They walked around, and they had joy, and they had happiness, and they were lighthearted. He said they were free from pain, from suffering. They were free from agony. They were free from hardship. But he said they had compassion to all compassion could possibly have. They had immense compassion and freedom and a lighthearted nature and a joyfulness inside of them and around them. And they looked at him and they touched his body and they said, "You're going to be okay. It's going to be okay." And then they left. They lifted up and left. That morning, he started getting feeling to his body. Now, he was a long way from physical therapy, but he got feeling in his body, and he was able to move his arms, which was witnessed by the nurse in the nursing home. It was witnessed. And from there on, he recovered, and he recovered rapidly, and then went through physical therapy and recovered. And he had to tell me the story. And that's the power of angels.